I remember in January of 2019, I was looking for a speaker within the agriculture industry because we had a large event. And my colleague said, have you ever heard about this guy called Alpha? I was like, who is Alpha? He said, Alpha Farmer from Y Farm. I said, no, I've never heard about Alpha. And I remember calling Alpha. I said, hey, my name is Keisha Garner, introduced myself. And he was very open in the beginning. And I told him about the event. And he said, of course, to talk to young people, I am going to be there. So Alpha came, delivered a dynamic presentation. And Ken, let me tell you, the young people who heard about agriculture in business, they were really shocked just to see that somebody was so passionate about agriculture and getting into this industry and what they wanted to see happen. And since then, Alpha and I have remained very connected. Once I call Alpha, he is there for any type of event. And I remember probably like about a month ago or so, I said, Alpha, I am doing Conversation Inc. I'm starting a podcast and I want you to be a speaker. And you know what Alpha said immediately? He said, Keisha, of course. He did not even think about it twice. Said, Keisha, I am going to be there. And Alpha, it is so good to have you with us today. Yes. So I just want you to tell the world about Alpha Sennon. Let me help us to understand in terms of why agriculture for you. You could have gone into any industry. Why agriculture? Talk to me, Alpha.
Yes. So thanks for having me so much. And as much as I support Krisha also supports me. So I want to let everyone know that as well. And I think that the ecosystem that we are building is very important to be able to work together because it's about collaboration and not competition. It's about complementing and not reinventing. So it's an absolute pleasure to be here. And I couldn't be more happy to take my lovely, what today is, Thursday night is to sit with you all, right?
Definitely.
Yeah, so for me, as much as I try to run away from the soil, like really from my early days in trying to study all kind of sciences and maths and physics and IT, I landed right back into the soil, so I'm come from humble beginnings in South Trinidad, in Superior to be exact. Superior is known for having very sandy soil, so we have some of the sweetest orange in the country, and some of the best.
I think that is something that we could probably negotiate on, but go right ahead if you say so.
Yeah. So in Superior, I grew up on a farm. I didn't like it, my father, he's an oil and gas man, but his passion, his love, he is into the soil. So, so he, every chance he got when we growing up, we would be in the land with him. And, the land that was your chores, that was what you have to do around the house, plant, water the crops, see about the goat, feed the chickens, feed the duck, and, as I reflect on it, I didn't really appreciate it, because it was just work, it was just chores, right? And which child loves chores, So went on to secondary school, was doing.
And that was primary school.
Well, started in primary school, yeah, and then went on to secondary school. Still not really. I wouldn't even say that I'm running away from it, like intentionally, because at the same time, nobody telling you that you could study agriculture and study agribusiness, and that could become, something that you could really
like a career.
In. So, but in my mind, it's like no way that is not even an option, So I did math and physics, and I did pretty good, really, really good in my O levels. So I guess when you're doing, if you qualify for the science class and you do sciences, then you'll automatically kind of go on to A levels and do sciences as well. Something
Right.
about in A levels, I don't know, I stopped liking it. And
It wasn't
I
for
passed
you.
yeah, it wasn't for me. I passed my subjects and things, but I wasn't.
Which secondary school you went?
I went to Faizabad, well, it was then known as Faizabad Composite, Faizabad Secondary, they call it now. And then I went on to do A levels at Irie High School in Separia. And
There's a Presbyterian school.
Presbyterian school, yeah. Right. So I did my sciences. I got through all my subjects and thing, but I did that. Then I went on to UE, automatically thinking again, let me do maths and let me do physics. You know, and in UE doing maths and physics, but I really didn't like it because you know the maths became less numbers and more words, and the physics and all the labs and whatnot. I really stopped. I didn't appreciate it then. You know, I think I reached at a point in my life where I needed for purpose to be interjected into my life. I ain't just doing something for doing its sake because I'm supposed to study and whatnot. So in doing the maths and physics for 2 years, I got an RTW, and I don't
No man, don't do me that. Don't do me. Wait.
Yes.
Alpha, so you telling me after you go in secondary school, when he did A levels, transition into university, that was it. They were ready to kick you out. That's what exactly you're telling me.
That's what I'm telling you. So RTW
I don't know why that's so. Yeah, go ahead.
RTW stands for required to withdraw, and it's because it's not that I just became, you know, I just didn't have the zeal to want to study these subjects, right? Because it wasn't connecting to me anymore. You know, I didn't know why at the time, but it's like I just became like a kind of delinquent. You know, I wasn't even trying to pass, literally, right? So I came out, I went and, you know, I signed up for OJT, and I did like about two terms then. I teaching at a primary school that I taught a second year class. No, a standard 2 class. And it was then where I really started connecting with children. So I realized I have a knack for teaching. I said, look forward to going to work then. And I mean, crazy as it was, I actually had my own class by myself. I wasn't an assistant teacher or anything, which I was supposed to be, but they didn't have a teacher at all. So I taught. I literally planned lessons and I really taught, you know. And I went back to UE. So that transition, I went back to UE. And then going back to UE, they tell me, make me try IT for a semester. Well, I'm not an IT guy building websites and this and that and the programming. No. The dean then tell me, Alpha, why you ain't try agribusiness? And this is me, Dean, what is agribusiness? You know, because those words weren't really buzzwords back then, really. And I went into the program, and all I can tell all right now is that from being an F student, I went total A pluses from dropping out, from getting kicked out of school, let me be real. You know, I became the valedictorian of the faculty and first class honors, graduate scholarships and everything. So in the program, I really found something that I didn't know I had inside of me. So all the theory that they were teaching, it connected back to the practical farm that I knew. But now that I understand what happened with me, I got the understanding and the answer to why farm. And everybody, I think, you know, digs deep. Whether you know or you don't know, but you're digging deep for a why and for your why. So I got my why during that agribusiness program. I remember traveling to Jamaica with the Agribusiness Society, and it was there. I was like, wow, that is agriculture. It was so industrialized, not in a bad way, but in an agribusiness sense. You know, it was mapped out where you're seeing production, you're seeing product development, going to the supermarkets. You know, you're seeing workers, you're seeing a system of an
entire system.
Yes, and I didn't see that in Trinidad back then. I mean, even our farm was just a garden. You know, we weren't selling, we didn't turn it into a business. You know, because that wasn't my father's livelihood. You know, we just, you know, grow food, we would give away, and we would eat food. But I didn't connect to our why until then. And it was there I realized that this is what people missing an understanding of the why in agriculture, you know. So that led to the development. I mean, I could talk about a lot of things that before that, I traveled to India, traveled to Thailand, many different places, and led to the development of Y Farm, which is the organization that I run today, which is really
So
given. Huh?
all of these travels would have been with school?
No, not with school, but me seeing opportunities there on the outside, signing up for them, and telling my dean or whoever that I want some time off to go to attend, going and run down to get the scholarship to go. I remember going up and down to the India High Commission. They pay for you.
Yeah, well, what I'm going to say is, tell us with a little bit more detail, because, when we put this out, I want somebody watching this to say, hey, if I in school and because, everybody, I want to go in there, I show Kush, I want to go in there too, So tell us.
Something can happen, man. Something can happen.
Before you reach the end of the Y, tell us how one could capitalize on these opportunities in Trinidad.
Sure. So there's a lot of programs, there are a lot of opportunities, I would say a lot, like sometimes too much, right? There's a lot of opportunities that advertise online, and I think people have to be searching within the right places, be part of the right networks, right pages on Facebook. Don't flood your timeline with only garbage. Have log on, like certain pages, follow certain pages that share opportunities.
Could you give us some examples? Sorry to be so detailed, but I really want to know.
No problem. I'm here to share full transparency. So, like, for example, YPAD, there's the Youth Professional in Agricultural Research and Development Network. Well, it's specific to agriculture, but sometimes they share developmental stuff as well too. So YPAD Facebook page, there's a network called Youth Opportunities, where they have a lot of opportunities that they would advertise. There's something else for people who are in the NGO space and business space, funds for NGOs. So they share grants and whatever, but also opportunities for like trainings, fellowships, all these sort of things, There's YBTT here in Trinidad and Tobago.
Right, I saw that.
As well too, YBTT, right? There's another page, I think a page called Global Opportunities for Youth that you can log on to as well too and get a lot. And it's just following these pages, having them, close on your timeline, right? So, and specifically with the India opportunity, right? It's called the ITEC, the India Training Economic Cooperation Programming, right? So the India High Commission based in Trinidad and Tobago here in Victoria, in Port of Spain, Victoria Street, they are the ones where you would fill out the form online and they would submit it to them. They would then send it to counterparts in India, and that is where they can approve it. Now there's loads of courses, not only in the field of agriculture. There's whatever you want to do, from accounting, engineering, and you go different parts of India. So there's different institutions in India. I went to Gujarat, and I went to the EDI.
Sorry, what was the name? What's the name of the place you went to?
Gujarat. In India, yeah. Right?
What part of East, West?
That's to the south.
South, okay.
Right? And I went to the Entrepreneurship Development Institute of India, EDI, and I spent 6 weeks, all expenses paid, all. The amount of I got, we visited the Taj Mahal, so they carry on field trips as well. They give you money, they give you spending money, so
like a podium.
You get living, you get meals, you get living, you get knowledge, you get information, you get exposure, and similar to that program, I went to Thailand as well on another opportunity. That was through the public admin ministry here in Trinidad, who does the scholarships and whatnot. So they are the ones, again, you apply, and you would you apply here and you would send it down to the public admin in Port of Spain. They would send it down to Thailand to get your approval. And the Thailand government pays for that, full 100. And there's so many opportunities, again, in different trainings that you could actually undertake. So it's something that I did, and I still do, but now I'm getting older, so I would pass on more opportunities to people and whatnot. You know, there was a point in time where I get fed up traveling. And
Man fed up, yeah.
Never, Alpha. Come on. What are you talking about? Fed up traveling.
That's because
Alpha,
we
be
in
ready to
Trinidad
travel
right
now.
through.
there was 2 years in a row where I was visiting Trinidad more than anything else. I was just going. And you know, sometimes it becomes tiring because traveling is hard. I mean, sometimes if you're going on a vacation as compared to going on work, I mean, so my traveling ended up stop being more for like going to attend trainings, but actually to conduct trainings. So it kind of,
So Alpha,
yeah.
could you give us like a little timeline? Because okay, so you're in primary school, working in the farm, secondary school sciences, and then sciences again. They remove you from school, you came back in valedictorian. So by the time you finish your degree, approximately how old were you at that time?
When I finished my degree, so I graduated in I graduated in 2015. So I would have been only help me. I'm 34 years now. So that's how many years ago? That's 7 years ago.
That's about 6 years. 2021, 6 years ago.
So about 29, 28.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. 34 now, 6 years
right.
ago.
And
a bit.
Right. And then
a bit old from you.
Yeah, but that's okay. And then from like 20, because I mean, for me, all that is part of it, you know, because sometimes people feel like, because I mean, I know for me, like when I started to do my, so I had a little similar story where I did IT. I wasn't required to withdraw, but I kind of dropped out. Right. So I stopped going to school for like a year.
Right.
And then when I re-entered, most of my friends were graduating, right? So I think that's something real interesting for people to know now, you know, like it's a situation where, you know, take your time and find what you like. And even if you didn't do it, just go back, you know, and it's real amazing to hear like, because when you're saying all these things, I tell myself this long time when it's recent, but as recent, you said that, because I mean, your traveling years had to be 2016, when it was 2016, 2017.
Yeah, well, in my undergrad, I did some travel.
Yeah, that travel during.
You know, because I became the president of the Agribusiness Society.
Right,
know.
So they would send you to represent.
Yes, they sent me to represent different little meetings and whatnot. So again, my feet wet then, you know.
Feet wet, yeah.
And Antigua, and I did some, you know, Grenada, different traveling around the region. And then when I started my postgraduate studies, my MPhil, which I'm still currently doing as well too. I'm still studying then. I take a little break from it because, you know, when I started YFAM, it just
everything took over.
Yeah, it took over. But I just have my thesis to do and then I'm done, you know.
But Alpha, let me ask you this, just considering your transitions, going from secondary school, you're unsure of what you wanted to do, because I have found that a lot of students, when they are at that Form 4, Form 5 level, and we usually do any type of advising, some people, they know that they want to become a doctor and they go after it. Some people want to be a lawyer, some people a business, but there are lots of students that are like, Miss, I do not know what I want to do. So when you consider that transition from secondary school to doing your bachelor's, now your MPhil, what was that transition like for you? Like, if you have to really sum that up or summarize that, coming from a place of confusion, now getting your why, what was that transition like for you?
In all honesty, I had no idea. Okay, I never had growing up, like, this is what I want to be. I didn't have that. I wasn't convinced about anything, and I wasn't really too bothered about it in the sense of like, oh gosh, I don't know what I'm going to be. I don't know what my life will end up. No, I always moved with a certain faith that said, you know, something will guide me in the direction, you know. So I didn't secondary school and all right, I go in UE and I go and study maths and I go and be a maths teacher or I go in and be a physicist. I didn't have that, but I was just going with the flow, to be very honest. And I know it's hard for a lot of teenagers and whatnot, or young adults to move like that, because you kind of, you feel, guys, that you had to have it figured out from day one. And I say absolutely not. You don't have to have it figured out. I think you had to sort of have a certain level of perseverance, discipline, consistency, you know, and let's go with a little bit of faith, and it will figure out you for itself before you figure it out. That's what happened in my case. I mean, it was a little bit hard. I mean, it wasn't easy when I see RTW. I had to call mommy and
yeah.
So you asked me to take a year off, you know.
I have a question, Alpha.
Sure.
So, well, it's a two-pronged question. Yeah. So one, I wanted to take a trip back to when you were working on the farm and either in secondary school or primary school, and tell me what like your day would be like from the morning to the night, and then tell me like what your day would be like. I want to say, right, well, have your days changed? I guess your days would have changed due to the pandemic, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So I guess you could tell me what your day would be like now, which would include, of course, Y farms.
Sure. Well, I mean, back then, well, if you take a typical summer holiday, you know, August vacation, then when you know I'm not in school, you know, working on the farm, you know, we would start with doing, you know, some sort of scene about the chicken and the ducks and whatnot. We had a lot of animals back then as compared to now. Now we strictly have crop and well, vegetables and fruits, you know. But back then, you know, we see about the animals and whatnot. We might go and plant some sort of citrus. You know, so right now we have a very huge orchard, which is the best oranges in Trinidad, Kusha.
Yeah, all right.
I hear you.
Yeah, we'll have to send some oranges, and you'll have to send some pictures or videos of them oranges first, because we had to throw it in the episode. Go ahead.
Ken, I think that's a fantastic idea, because you can't be boasting about your oranges and not send anything. It does not.
Yeah, exactly, and we need our vitamin C. You know, it's pandemic going around.
Yeah, for sure. You know, so you know, plant a few orange trees. You know, dig the hole and you plant it, and then but where the house is to where the land is a walking distance, but it's a good walk. So you're toting these plants from the house to go to plant it. That alone is a journey. You come back for 2 more, you go, you come, you know, and it's hills and whatnot. I mean, you know, now it was fun, but it just wasn't like, well, again, nobody was telling you that this is something that could become a professional career. You know, nobody telling you that. No, that wasn't in our conversation really. So all I know was, you know, I'm just doing this now. I mean, now that those same orange trees that I planted now, them is the same orange that we making money from now, you know, because it's selling and whatnot. But back then it was just you're just doing it, you know. So of course, you know, then you would probably go under the sugar mango tree and fill your belly of some sugar mango. Sugar mango tree was like the best. It died actually. I don't know what happened to it, you know, but
my condolences.
Huh?
No, I just said my condolences.
Yeah, thanks, man. You know, it stopped bearing. It's still standing, but it just kind of stopped bearing for the past 3 years. I don't know why. But yeah, and then we would sort of, I don't know. Well, we was busy in the pan world as well too. Still is. We run a band called in Deltoons, Superior Deltoons. So
okay.
In the afternoon, I think we had a junior side. So typically that's the day, you know, in terms of the holidays and whatever, but the majority, 3/4 of the days literally in the garden doing some level of farming. Yeah, my day now, I mean, in starting Y Farm and becoming, you know, the executive director, I have some of the busiest days doing, you know, my day now will literally start by, we have to go on the farm. Sometimes we go to the wholesale farmers market, 2:30 in the morning. Well, of course, not now with the curfew, but before, and get some of the produce that we don't have, or go around to some of our farmers, or sometimes they bring it because we supply the massy stores here in Superior. You know, we supply all the local vegetables and stuff at the store. We supply it from our farm, but you know, on one farm, you literally can't grow everything. So you have to have other providers and suppliers as well. So the day would start very early in being able to deliver their order on time. You know, the store opens 7, so we try to deliver by 8 a.m. And to go on the farm, then we have to like pack out, you know, we develop like callaloo packs, and we have some dehydrated pimento powder products. So we got a lot more into value added. which is agro-processing, right? But besides that, you know, we have to pick dashing bush, bundle it out, lettuce, pak choy, tomatoes, bodi, okra. We supply the store with all these things, right? Then after doing that, you know, I might end up having, sometimes I have a day full of webinars, you know, where either you're teaching or just being a guest on some, you know, some show or some meeting or just a meeting. And then, you know, I would have, according to what projects, like today I had to go and do some work on the field. I had to go and train some people, at church, actually, some church members to start a small garden.
Okay.
So I was there. Then we have a garden in the hospitals. I have to go to the hospital in San Fernando Hospital, a garden.
So when I say Y Farms has a garden in the hospital?
Yeah. Well, Y Farm and some other partners, you know, Greenage Farm.
Right.
You know, yeah. But we are the helm of it as well, so we have to go and check it out, and then back to doing some meetings. I just had a meeting right before this session here, where I was teaching some folks. Eastern Credit Union actually hired me to do some trainings on growing your food in this pandemic.
Nice.
Myself and some other panelists, of course. And then to this meeting here now, this call here now, you know. So it's always a packed day. It varies, you know. Sometimes when Kusha called me, I had to go up in Lockjack to do something, or I had to go to UE to do something, you know. So I just have, and then of course, if it was not for the pandemic, you all might have been speaking to me from somewhere else in the world right now, because the amount of trips that I have missed since this whole thing happened because our borders closed, you know. Maybe it's a blessing because I get to enjoy Trinidad. A lot of things that we wanted to do and couldn't do it before. Right. I would say time in being here got us to actually do it, you know. So it's a blessing, guys, you know what I mean? But you know, my days is very, very, very hectic and spontaneous too now. So you know, you kind of loving what you're doing, because and then sometimes I go back on the farm, you know, because I mean we have workers on the farm. My father manages it because he retired now, so he's on the farm. But I try to be there as well too. But you know, when people like Kusha call me to come and do this and do that, I have to go. You know, so I can't be,
well, so question. Well, I have two questions. First question is, but Kusha, you have a question you're going to say before I start? I don't want ask all the questions.
Yes, I was now going to ask Alpha. Are you seeing me now?
No, I'll have to swipe my screen. So I think I'm not. The only reason I'm not seeing you is because of me. So you go ahead and talk.
Yeah.
No problem. So Alpha, I just want to find out who have really particular persons along your journey, at least 3 persons that you can identify, that you can hear individuals had such a great impact on the person that I am today as a farmer, as somebody who's into business, being in the agriculture industry.
3, you were breaking up there a little bit, so you said 3 persons that impacted me.
Yes, or are like mentors.
I think she's saying 3 persons that had an impact on you, or who were like mentors.
Okay. Yeah. Well, for starters, I have to say my father, because
you know, he's man of the soil.
Yeah. If it wasn't for his push in keeping us grounded, I would say literally in the ground, you know, that's agriculture, I wouldn't have this, I guess, developed this passion today. So there's him. I mean, you know, a big part of my development is from a spiritual perspective, you know. So being of the Islamic faith, and I'm practicing Muslim, you know, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, when you read about his stories and his purpose and his livelihood, you know, I must say that I mean, of course, there's somebody who I never met, but, you know, you read about him, you know, that plays a great role in my development and wanting to be a better human being, you know. with showing zero discrimination, but loving all of mankind, and really, really connecting to wanting to feed the world. And, looking at it from a spiritual perspective is what helps me drive the way I drive, and really thinking be an adult that I could contribute to feeding the world. And this is what we do via our projects, right? So that's number 2, right? Number three, well, I kind of want to say my wife has really played a real important role in my whole development, even bringing wife into fruition, because I remember, and I probably didn't get to this part of the story, but I remember when I graduated, I went and I took up a job in UWI, as a research assistant, and but as I started to, so I travel and whatnot, and I come back and I keep saying, like, this job, it going okay, but I have way more to offer, So then YFAM started I started to toil with the idea. And it reached a place where I think we didn't launch it yet, but we were I was like, you know what, let me again serious about this. A great idea, it'll start with let's thinking it through, and you're trying to figure it out and whatnot. And I really had to make it happen. I had to leave my job, so I got married, and this is me telling my rival, I feel I'm really leaving this job because YFAM, I need to do YFAM if I'm doing it now. I can't play a working this. No. Doing
That's
this.
That's a hard conversation to have, though.
It is, exactly. So, and to my surprise, she was like, well, let's do it. Let's do it, go ahead. Let me take the faith, the leap of faith, I in it with you, And a wife telling you that, where, in that case, you ain't sure where your bill going and be paid at the end of the month now, because you dive into this entrepreneurship, into this open sea with caimans and alligators and things, and you don't know what next. And she simply said to me, well, I'm in it with you. She's a school teacher. So her passion is education, and she contributes so much to YFAM as well too, from an educational perspective, and doing a lot of the projects on the ground as well too, So I would say, the inspiration that I got from her, if I didn't have that support, and she said, what are you talking about, boy? Keep your work here, this kind of way. Now, not everybody, I don't advise everybody to make that leap, because it doesn't always work out for a lot of people, and it could cause more pain than anything else. But I made it. I'm not saying that there weren't rainy days. I'm still not saying that there still aren't rainy days, because you're striving as best as possible for things to get stable, with your businesses. There are days where you win, there are days where you lose, And
but let me ask some questions on this topic quick. Sure. So I wanted to find out if you had any employees.
Yes.
Right. So tell me about the structure of your company. How many employees? Because that will kind of tell us how these wins and losses go, and it may or may not impact these other individuals.
Sure. Yeah. So we have two full-time employees,
Right. So that started you alone, and then now you and the two full-time.
Yeah, one on the farm and one who's like our administrative assistant who helps with, grants and projects and, all of that stuff. But then we have a part-time team then of 8 other persons, who, they have their other jobs and they have their job and whatnot, but they work with YFAM part-time, but they are on the main director board of YFAM then, right? And
nice.
They contribute a lot, but YFAM don't pay them a salary like every month or not like that.
Yeah.
Do projects, for example, that requires certain projects that have funding towards it, and requires their skills and expertise is where they could actually get a remuneration for it. So for the employees now who actually have to get a salary every month, they are the ones that, of course, we have to worry about more than anything else, but it works. So we cover enough, produce, we sell this, we sell that, and the other to be able to handle them properly, appropriately. But and then we have the YFAM advisory board as well too. So these are senior people from around the world, as a matter of fact, that contributes towards us via advisory, connecting us with networks. So that's a volunteer.
How did you set up this advisory board? So let's say Kershaw and I, we start conversation yesterday. We want to link all the top podcasters, to advise us in Trinidad. Well, how are we doing that?
Well, for me, from how I did it was that really over a period of time. YFAM is 6 years. Well, October will make it our 6-year anniversary.
So it actually started in 2015 then?
Yes, yeah.
So just where you graduate and right, okay.
I went straight into it.
But now he was working in university first, and then he was like,
yeah, and then I went over into it. So for me, it's like we really a lot of traveling, a lot of networking happened. Where people would you build your credibility. People understand your work, your mission. You understand what you want to achieve, what it is you're doing. And then, we were able to, well, I would say for me, how I did it is that I found people who's interested in what we're doing, right? And they have a keen interest in it. And then I were able to network with them and have like these little one-on-one mentor calls with them. Then, they would touch base with me, what you all doing, how could I help, blah, blah, they would connect us to somebody. And these people who I realized were really into YFAM, not for any kind of profit gain, and eventually they could make some kind of money. They were just professional adults and they wanted to do a give back. I sort of, brought them together and asked them, could you actually support YFAM by being an official advisory board member, of YFAM for a period of 2 to 3 years, for example, So
it's a finite period, makes sense.
Yeah, for a period, yeah, because not forever. And you see how and maybe they could, because people move on, people, they get to put that on their resume. We get to put it on our resume that this person is a board member, that person is a board member. So I think it's just about networking in the right spaces, connecting with people, whether it is right here in Trinidad or if you travel wherever and be part of conferences, people you speak. And I think it's about really going out there as well to your speaking engagements and whatnot. You get to like what you're doing. People get to like your person. A lot of it with me, like my personality, I bring something different to the stage when I go and I talk and I rap and whatnot. So people...
Yeah, and people can kind of feed off of your energy. I have one more question, but I don't know if I want to leave Kershaw. You have a question before me? I know you want to go ahead.
No, you go ahead. I'll ask my question right after.
No problem. So my next question is, so the reason why I'm asking all of my questions, first of all, Kershaw is the one who knew you from before. So, I'm learning as you're speaking. And I always felt like, a lot of times, you watch the videos, but you don't, you get the story, but I want to know, what's the actual back end now? So tell me, okay, so you would have set up several income streams. So some of that might have been some of your training, and then it would be from YFAM, and then you said some grants. So tell us specifically about how you would have gone from, let's say, no job, and you're doing YFAM to set up your various income streams.
Sure. So that's a very good question, because as much as setting up the very various income streams, that wasn't a walk in the park. And I could tell you all right now, and all the listeners as well too, we had days where Agriman and myself would go to school and we don't have no gas to come back. Or some kind of $40 to put gas to come back, because you're doing it out of passion, right? You're doing it out of purpose, and you're building a resume. I would say is like we don't have a marketing budget. Any company, well, quote unquote company that's starting, they will say they have a marketing budget, whatever. But I don't know. That is in the airy fairy world. In the real world, that's not always the case.
Doesn't exist, right?
I hear some company, some startup in the US and Canada and Europe. You hear about they had a $1.5 million marketing budget, and I'm like, so really? You know, that, you understand? In our case now, our blood, sweat, and tears is the marketing budget. You know, we need to take ourselves and do the marketing, you know, so and get friend and family to do a little flyer here and do a little video and you beg around, and until you build it, you know. So we had days where it was really, really tough. And we realized that as we were building that, you know, we had to monetize Agriman, right? We had to monetize the Agriman comic books. We had to monetize visits to the farm. We have to monetize classes like workshops and trainings, etc. Of course, speaking engagements. So a lot of our funding will pre-COVID-19. I would say a big part of the revenue stream was travels and you know, being paid as a speaker, you know, in different conferences and stuff all over the world. And then we had all our Agriman apparels, like the t-shirt I'm wearing now, you know, so we sell all these things, right? And of course, we have the farm, you know, which is also a big part of our revenue stream, and developing the extra products. You know, like we have the Agriman Kalalu pack. So we're now trying to make Agriman a branding on vegetable packs. You know, for the future, you know, we want to be able to license Agriman in a way that people could, you know, pay to be able to put Agriman on their pack, and of course, a percentage comes to us. You know, that we don't have that set up as yet, or at least no one approached us, but we eventually would set up
time.
Yeah. But
yeah, and I get what you're saying, because I remember when you and I were on a panel before, you were saying that, you know, to get your goods in the supermarket, you're looking at, if you're bringing a following, your people also looking at the look and feel of your brand. Yes, so if I have a good product and I could link Agriman, yeah, I have my good product already, and I could get your brand, I could probably get in the supermarket easier and everybody win. Yeah. I wanted to know how soon I could get an Agriman. Like, I don't know where that is in your production to put it right on my shelf.
Like an action figure, a nice action
by my
figure.
Other,
I like that.
Some other brethren here. You laugh, this man laughing. I actually said, we need a little Agriman. What is that telling you?
I don't know how soon, but it's something that I always, because again, Agriman has to become just as what all them other characters is in terms of, you know, toys and games and book bags and plate. And
yeah, I agree. And it's something that could be synonymous with learning about agriculture.
Of course. And that is the, I would say, subliminal marketing there, because with that now you have little messages. Plant one tree for free, you know, little messages on the stuff and whatnot. But it's something that I can't say and tell you how soon, but I want to say.
Yeah, no problem.
But it's coming out. Yeah, Alpha, I love that you are thinking about the future and what you want to see happen. And, you know, when you look at the sustainable developmental goals, one of the things is food security, and you fit right into that area. When you consider in terms of Y Farm and the sustainable developmental goals, how do you think about sustaining Y Farm and opportunities within the agricultural industry for anyone that is probably considering getting into it? What are your thoughts? What are you looking at?
So our big sustainability plan to move us into the future is developing our Y Farm's School of Agriculture, right?
Agriculture.
We plan to launch this on World Food Day in October this year, at our 6th anniversary. We already have support from a major company in Europe to work with them on using their digital labs platform to launch our school, right? And this is what will take us into the future with education, training, really and truly pioneering, you know, Y Farm's mandate of agri-edutainment. You know, because it's only for so long you'll be able to run around, run by school here, run by school here, run by, you know, but a place where people can come and train, and you create other, I would say, other alphas, you know, you create other agents who could go out and do this work that you're doing, and they are part of other organizations, but it's like a sort of train the trainers. And that is our sustainability plan to move us into the future. And of course, beyond that, continuing doing our comic books. So we now on our 5th issue, and it's getting more and more exciting.
Who buys the comic books? Like kids, adults?
Yeah, there's comic book fans where
Yeah, no, I know.
Great
yes,
following. Look
you know,
at it.
so there's people sometimes who I see posters of, I just picked up this comic book and I was like, wait, you're not expecting this older
Yeah.
person, so
Where do they sell?
right now, well, UE bookstore, Sharon's in Trin City, a few stores and pharmacies in the Superior area. Centrascape in Mid-Center Mall of the highway right there. And then on Amazon, of course, as well too.
Okay.
Yeah. So yes, and then we intend to do a cartoon series moving forward. But then our next big hint I'm going to give you all as well is that we launching our app. It's in partnership with the UNDP and the FAO. I call it Grow Garden Project, and that is launching at the UN Food Systems Summit that is coming up as well too. And it's all Agriman's material. So Agriman is doing the animation for it. We did all the videos for the app, and YFAM will be co-managing it with the Ministry of Agriculture. Yeah.
Very nice.
All right, that is fantastic, and that is growth that we would love, that we like to hear. Just coming from a place of not knowing anything from secondary school, all you know is that you love your sciences, you're going through, but then you see mathematics, and then you start to get confused even more. To now, YFAM becoming sustainable, and I want you to speak to that person who was thinking about it, because sometimes it's like, okay, that was Alpha's story. That is something that can work for him. But for anybody that is just listening, thinking about getting into the agriculture industry, like, should this be for me? What should be their first step? So I know that you stumbled upon it, but for someone, a young person or somebody who's transitioning in their career, can you give some kind of advice as to how can I think about getting into agriculture industry, and what do I have to do? What do I do, Alpha? Tell me.
Sure. I always like to say start with finding your gift. I mean, if you really can't find your gift as yet, and you think you had to wait so long, look at the broad spectrum of the agricultural value chain, I call it, right? The value chain is simply all the steps that it takes from growing that food, or even getting the seed or the seedling or the soil or the whatever fertilizer or whatnot, and straight down to that food reaching on the supermarket shelf, whether it may be in a pack, whether it may be, just raw dashing bush or whatever the case may be. But all the steps involved along that entire chain, you will need to check it out and see what best you think you fit in. Like, what do you like to do? Am I good at probably planting? And if I'm good at planting, do I want to plant in the ground? Do I want to do grow boxes, or do I want to do hydroponics? Do I want to do more controlled agriculture, greenhouses, or hydroponics or aquaponics? What do you think you're good at, or what you like doing? Maybe you want to get into agriculture, or maybe you don't want to plant anything. Maybe you want to, I don't know, maybe you want to just buy some peppers from farmers and dehydrate it and dry it and create a preventative product like what we have, or do the same thing with hot pepper, or whatever commodity,
Right.
and maybe you want to agro-process, or maybe you want to do branding, maybe you want to design packages and labelings and tell nice stories on packages, and start a whole company doing that for the food industry, the food and beverage industry, right? Or maybe you're good at technology and you want to come up with apps that can help farmers, I don't know, sell their produce, help consumers connect to the farmers, or farmers connect to consumers, or restaurants or hotels. Maybe you're good at that technology wise, or maybe you want to be able to develop smarter tools while catching the tail to dig that cassava, right? Let me see if I can develop some.
Now, we just wanted to tell us funny. I actually like cassava. It's one of my favorites.
But it's very hard to dig cassava. When you're digging a cassava, to dig a stool of cassava, especially the dirt, real hard. So could I develop a tool and I could commercialize that helps farmers harvest the cassava smarter, more effective, more efficient, etc. So I'm saying all these are opportunities that could exist. I mean, for me, if you look at what I do, more along the educational side and targeting the children. And I created that niche, and we say that why we pioneer agri-edutainment, educational entertainment. So we merge the two things together to create an industry that I wouldn't say it wasn't there, but it wasn't in the forefront, you know.
Right.
And we brought it to the forefront. We brought the conversation of why farm to the forefront, you know, till so much that in 2019, I was awarded, or I was named the most influential 40 under 40 person by the Ministry of Sport and Youth Affairs amongst so many other young people who's doing amazing things, you know. But because of the influence that I bring via our program at YFAM in a sustainable way then, because it's one thing that's being an individual, and this is something I would want to share with folks as well too. Being an individual, and let's say you start something and you're by yourself, you know, but as opposed to starting an organization or a company that creates a bigger advocacy plan or whatever it is you're doing, you know, whatever it.
All right, I'm not just sitting.
Wait, Kusha, party done, you know?
No. Alpha is coming right back in. I'm not just sitting. What is happening on his
Message
end?
He message you?
I understand that, you know. So
okay, Alpha, if you can just say that again, we lost you there in connection for a little bit. You were just speaking about the fact that, you know, individuals should think about looking at organizations and companies. If you could just give us that advice one more time.
Yeah. So I was saying that, you know, I want to advise, you know, the people who will be listening and whatnot, who's on, that, you know, don't think about yourself. Yes, you might build something surrounding yourself, but I think about a more sustainable approach by developing an organization, getting a team who could support you to reach more people. You know, right. if I wanted to do this by myself and I just, you know, I didn't register YFAM and I'm just Alpha Sennon, just online promoting agriculture, I wouldn't have had all the success that we had. I wouldn't have, you know, some of the donors that donated to us, because they'll be donating towards an individual and not an organization that could show track record and it could show, you know, our resume of this and resume of that. But this as an individual, it really isn't sustainable. How long would I last by myself trying to do a cause, you know? So yeah.
Right, understood. One of the things I like about YFAM, every time we have conversations, you have these little quotes that you give, and I guess that is where the edutainment part of it. Can you share some of YFAM quotes with us, Alpha?
Sure. Well, I'll start by saying, YFAM you say, if you could, you should. YFAM today, who would. YFAM don't play, the earth need food. YFAM I say, serve a greater good. Boys and girls, I'm the agri-man. To feed the world is my master plan. If you plant one tree, you could eat for free. This will guarantee food security. From field to farm, let's let it sprout. Soon we'll see an end to drought. Once we all grow what we need, soon the whole world we can feed. You know, so we have so many. I think it's about. For us, it's almost like using the arts, using poetry to be able to really, because art is the highest form of communication, you know, and then people argue this part and say that music is the highest form of art, you know, and some people say dance is the highest form of art, but art is the highest form of communication. So once you could communicate, you know, using the arts, using poetry, slogans, plant one tree, eat for free, you know, that will stick in your brain. You know, you will remember that. You could say that 5 years from now, right? When I say the soil is the new oil and the grass is the new gas, people have a different appreciation for it. And when I say we turn agriculture into agriculture, you know, these are things that ends up in your subliminal conscious. And before you know it, you're passing by an agri shop and you're stopping to buy a plant. Alpha saying plant one tree for free, but let me go and buy a plant and plant a plant. Eh? You never had in your mind to do that at all. And it comes just as brainwash marketing. You're going up the highway and you're seeing Coca-Cola sign, Coca-Cola. People just drink that, oh gosh, Coca-Cola. And before you know it, you stop by Grand Bazaar.
Drinking a Coke.
And it does happen, you know what I mean? Or similar to buying KFC and them kind of things. It's brainwash marketing, you know? So people use these things, and I think we use some of it, in a good way, you know, because we selling good stuff, right? To be able to market and reach people.
Right. And
Cool.
and one of the things I like about that, I mean, it literally sounds like hip hop to me. You could have a whole hip hop competition just thinking about those quotes. And I will let you know, Alpha, that because of just my interaction with you and listening to how you would have done Y Farm, I started my own home garden. I never really had the time to think about that. Yes, COVID came and it happened, but I want to let you know that you were very influential in terms of me starting that home garden. And when I think about that, I'm like, you are doing such a great job within the agriculture industry using Y Farm. And I just really appreciate the fact that we can have this conversation. But I just want to ask you one last question, and then probably ask Ken if you can ask his last question as well.
No, that was my last question before.
Okay, no problem. In terms of qualification, what can be the next step for someone who is looking to leave secondary school? So I have completed CXC. They didn't really talk to me about agriculture when I was in Form 3, so I'm now hearing about it, listening to Conversation Inc. What is my next step right after secondary school where qualification is concerned to become amazing, just like Alpha within agriculture?
Yeah, well, you know, leaving secondary school, you know, the University of the West Indies have quite a lot of, I think it's quite a lot of tertiary education programs where agriculture is concerned. And again, don't set up yourself to go and do livestock if you don't really like animals and whatnot, you know what I mean? So you need to find, again, look at these programs closely, look at the courses being offered, etc., you know, the majors, the minors and whatnot. There's a lot of courses in UE, there's a lot of courses in ECIAF, there's at UTT. ECIAF is very, very more practical. There's agricultural technology at UE. There's agribusiness. What I did agribusiness major, a minor in communication extension, and a minor in entrepreneurship. And that blend is exactly all what I do today at Y Farm. Extension is being able to offer advices to people and how to communicate with people. And of course, well, I couldn't do any of this if I wasn't entrepreneurial about it. You know, we would not be having this conversation today. So, and of course, the agribusiness aspect, creating products and turn it into a business, you know. So I think really dig deep into seeing new courses that is being offered. There's quite a lot. And go after it. Now, some people, you know, if you really want to go UE and you really want to do nothing, there's so many courses being offered as well too. You know, there's so many sideline courses or diploma or whatnot. The Ministry of Agriculture have a lot of courses as well too. I mean, I would advise persons to go on to do tertiary education if that's their cup of tea. Yes, that's not everybody cup of tea. No problem. Nobody said that you will become a failure if you don't go to some university, you know. But at the same time, if you think you could handle it, you go on and you study, and you but try your best to line up, you know, what you want to do to what you want to study. Now, if you're like me and you don't know it, I would let's say still go and do something, you know, go and do something, and it will lead you to that something. That's as in my case. And if you will give your RTW, come out of the people's school and go back in. Those stuff.
Yeah. No, I agree.
And I always say too that I got kicked out and now I have my own, I don't work at UE, but the Faculty of Food and Agriculture gave me an entire office space to do Y Farm. So we have a Y Farm hub at the Faculty of Food and Agriculture at Dudley Hawkins building where we do all our trainings, where we do workshops, and I have my own office, and it's just you know, from being kicked out to having my keys to the faculty, and to open my own doors and my own office. I think anything in life is possible, you know. Once you believe in yourself and you believe in what it is you want to achieve in life, I think you'll do that. I mean, for me, one of my goals, I know sometime when I'm invited back on this program in a year time or 2 years time, I'll be saying some way bigger achievements. For example, I want to work with Tyler Perry. I wrote him a letter. I went to his studio in Atlanta in 2019. That was the last time I traveled, as a matter of fact, after that 2020 Corona.
That was it, lockdown.
So that was my last trip. And I didn't get to meet him in person, but I'm making the connections. And I just know a day I would receive an email from him or something saying like, hey, let's do this Agriman Adventures movie or cartoon or whatever the case may be. Or if it's not him, it will be somebody else. So I always speak it into existence that one day we would all go to Movie Town and watch the amazing adventures of Agriman on big screen TV. And you know, and I think that will just be like a real tremendous moment in time for Trinidad and Tobago.
Yeah,
you know.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I really look forward to that moment. What I would say is, what we want to do, we actually want to reach out to the Minister of Agriculture. Hopefully we get to talk to that person and invite you and probably a couple other people within the agriculture sector and utilize these audio apps. So, you know, there are a couple audio only apps, such as like Clubhouse and Twitter Spaces out. So we're going to choose one of them, and probably in about 3 weeks or so, of course, once your schedule allows, we want to have an opportunity to have a kind of open forum, you know, where we could invite people to come and ask questions, you know. Probably this episode will be out, or we might use it to promote the episode coming out, you know. So I wanted to let you know about our plan from now, because now you could like think of ideas, because you know, like the open forum is for all of us to use, you know. So you might have 1 or 2 ideas, you already know people feel about it. So you could run it by, you know. So you know, I'll let you know from now. Because I know for me that's a big deal now. I always have 1 or 2 things, and I ain't too sure if it's left or right. Should we do orange or we should do teal? Or is it teal or is it turquoise cushion, you know? So I would love to run it by some people. So yeah, so I'll let you know about that from now. But I mean, I have really enjoyed hearing, especially not knowing from before, and I look forward to that penultimate conversation. Kusha?
Definitely, Alpha. It was such an amazing conversation. Thank you so much for sharing about your passion, about why farm. And as we heard, soil, this is the new oil. Soil is the new oil. That is where we're going towards. So let me say on behalf of Conversation Inc., thank you so much for being a part of us. If you are able to be in that conversation later on this month, come through. But Alpha, you continue to do great work, continue to represent your industry, and do well.
Thank you so much for having me, folks. It was an absolute pleasure. And I look forward to all the successes that these conversations would be having in the future.
Yeah, you are the first, you know.
Yes, you told me. I feel honored and feel delighted to be the first, you know.
Yeah, boy, you really dance right now.
And say, or Alpha means beginning, let me make him the first. All right. It's an absolute pleasure, and congratulations, and you know, full success and full support moving forward. You know, whenever you need someone, a mother's call and a day.
No problem.
You know, so
we'll do.
Definitely.
All right, no problem, Alpha. Well, we will keep in touch. Thank you very much.
All right, you're welcome. Take care, guys.
Okay, Alpha. Have a blessed night. Bye.